Alright, so we're doing 513 using factoring to solve problems. And 513, that's our last section. So we've had a really long chapter 5, but we're going to finish out with word problems, your favorite. And not only are these word problems, we're going to be using factoring and solving by factoring. Yay! Okay, so now that we can solve equations using factoring, these types of equations will be used in word problems. Because we have the options of getting more than one solution, we'll have to check and see if it possibly works for the given situation. For example, you might have a negative of something that can't be negative. That wouldn't be a solution. So kind of we'll have to go back and make sure to check. Okay, so remember for word problems that we must define a variable. That's the first thing. The second thing, we are going to use variable to write an equation. To write equation. And then lastly, we're going to solve the equation. But you need to make sure that you answer what the question is asking, so make sure you solve the equation and get final answer, because when you solve the equation, that might not be what the question is asking. It'll be used to help you find that, so be careful about that. So we're just going to get right into it. Some of the stuff we've learned before, okay? So, like consecutive integers. So we're going to find two consecutive negative odd integers whose product is 255. Okay, so we know that if we were to have one integer, we would have x. And we know product means Okay, we're going to just rewrite that x. So we know that we're multiplying because of product. So I'm going to be multiplying it by another consecutive odd integer. So really I have to add 2 to that, because if you were to have like 1, then you add 2 to that to get 3. Now you're probably thinking, Miss Robinson, it says negative. It does. That actually, we're not going to use that aspect of it until we get to like solving and we get to our answer, because if we were to get two different answers and one of them's positive, can we use that one? No, because it says 2 consecutive negative odd integers. That's kind of how we go back and check. Okay, so we know that this is going to equal 225. Okay, so hopefully by now you would know how to set up this problem, because we've used this stuff before. So now we're just going to distribute. So we're going to get x. Okay. It's wanting to delete everything I've done. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of... It's not 250. Okay. Okay. Pretend it was still there, and so now we're going to have x squared plus 2x equals 225. So you should have that still in your paper, the other part. Now, when we solve, we need it to equal 0 to solve. So we're going to subtract 225 from both sides. We're basically bringing the 225 to one side. So we have x squared plus 2x minus 225 equals 0. And now we can solve. So this case looks like a add multiply, because it's a trinomial and it doesn't have a number in front. So we need to add to 2, but multiply to a negative 225. Okay, so we're going to, if you were to type in your calculator to check, I know that they need to be 2 apart, so that means they're going to be 2 numbers close together. So by the time I get it, we get negative 15 and positive 17. So I'm just saving you time. You can check in your calculator, but that's what you're eventually going to get. And we know how to do that. So we're going to factor it. Again, everything's disappearing on me. And we get x, we get x plus 15, x minus 15, x plus 17 equals 0. So now we need to solve it. So we're going to solve that by setting each one equal to 0. So x equals 15 equals 0. So or x minus 15 equals 0, so x equals 15. And then we have x plus 17 equals 0, but that gives me x equals negative 17. So now that we think about this, if you look back up at the beginning of the problem, it's going slowly for sure. Find two consecutive negative odd integers. Well, they're both odd, so that's good, but both of them are not negative. So we cannot use this 15 because it's not negative, and that's not answering our question properly. So we're going to be using negative 17. So negative 17 is our x. And if you would have seen what we had originally, you have this on your paper, this is what we started with. We know that, so my first number is going to be negative 17. Now it says find two consecutive odd integers. So if my first one's x, my next one's x plus 2. So what's negative 17 plus 2? That gives me a negative 15. Okay, so those are my two consecutive integers that will give me 225. So that's my answer. And you might be like, well, the negative 15, that's not from the other one. No, I used it from the negative 17 to find my answer. Okay, my computer does not like me right now. Okay, so this one's a little bit with the area, and y'all probably might not like it as much, but you can do it. Okay, so it says a decorator plans to place a rug in a 9 meter by 12 meter room so that the uniform strip of flooring around the rug will remain uncovered. So all it's saying is that the rug is going to be exactly in the center of the room. So everything around it is going to be, you remember how we had walkways and they were all the same width? That's what it's saying for this. It's all the same. Now it says, how wide will this strip be if the area of the rug is to be half the area of the room? Okay, so let's just start by placing a rug in a 9 by 12 room. So I have 9 by 12, and then I'm going to have some sort of rug. And obviously I'm not drawing it perfectly to scale, but we know that all of these like pieces right here are going to be the same, like some X width, or we could say some width, W. They're all the same. It's uniform, okay? And that's what we're trying to find. So we're trying to find X now. So it says, how wide will this strip be if the area of the rug is to be half the area of the room? So we have area of the rug. So area of rug equals half the area of the room. Okay. So now we have we can easily figure out the area of the room, because it tells us the room is 9 by 12. So 9 times 12 is 108. So that means we can find out what the area of the rug is. So the area of the rug is half of the area of the room, which is 108, which we know will give us 54. Okay, so now we know that. Now we just need to figure out the dimensions of the rug. But then we could set up an equation. We could say the length of the rug times the width of the rug equals the area of the rug, because we know how much the area is now. Now you remember when we figured out, okay, so we think about this. We know that this whole thing is 12. We don't know what this is, but we know that this part is X, and actually this part is X. So really, this length, so I'm going to redraw the rug right here, this length of the rug is really 12 minus 2X, because there's an X on either side. So it's really like whatever that length is plus X, and that will equal 12. So likewise, this length right here comes from here. So we're going to start with 9, and we're going to subtract 2 X's to get what we have left. So we have that. So we're going to set this as an equation. 9 minus 2X times 12 minus 2X equals 54. And we're going to multiply it out. And we should all know how to multiply that out. You can use the FOIL method. I'm trying to click to move down, and it's going slowly. Okay, so I'm going to write that over here. So that's going to be 108, and then it's going to be negative 18x minus 24x plus 4x squared, because that's multiplying all these out. Like that, okay? Equals 54. Now I'm going to rearrange it. So I'm going to put the 4x squared in front. And then we're going to have negative 42x plus 108 equals 54, but we need it set equal to 0, so we're going to subtract the 54, so we're going to have 4x squared minus 42x plus a 54, because 108 minus 54 is positive 54. So we have this. And we are going to now factor. So by factoring this, what we always look for the GCF. The GCF, here I'm going to try to scroll up more. It's going very slowly. Okay, so we're going to factor out 2. So we have 2x squared minus 21x plus 27 equals 0. And now I'm going to factor what's on the inside. So I know it's going to be using the add multiply grouping one because there's a number in front. So it's going to add to negative 21, multiply to 54. Okay, and so that's going to leave me with negative 3 and negative 18. So I'm going to split those up. Ooh, negative 18x, negative 3x, plus 27, 2x squared. And I'm just going to bring the 2 down. It doesn't matter. Just showing you that it can still stay there. It still exists. So that 2's there. And then I'm going to factor out what do they have in common. They have a common a 2x. So that's going to be x minus 9, and then they have in common negative 3, so they're going to have x minus 9 as well. Well, I forgot to group, but I'm sure you can see that there better. Okay, finish factoring, so we have 2 times 2x minus 3. Oh no. Okay. X minus 9 equals 0. So we're almost there. We need first some more room to the right. And then we need to set each of them equal to each other. So originally, as some of them we were practicing solving, we had, like if this was x here, we set the first part. 2 equals 0. But that can't work. We can never have that happen. So then we're going to do the next one. 2x minus 3 equals 0. So add 3. And then divide by 2, so that gives us x equals 3/2. And then x minus 9 equals 0, so x equals 9. Okay, so now we got to go back and test. So if you look back at your sheet, I'm not going to scroll up because I'm having scrolling issues. We remember that the rug was 9 minus 2x and 12 minus 2x. Okay, so we need to find the width because that's what the question asks us. Find the length and width of the rug. So if I plug in, let's say I plug in 9 first, so that's the whole number. Okay, so 9 minus 2 times 9, that's 18. That gives me a negative 9. So that means that will not work. I cannot have a negative width. So now we're going to plug in the 3/2. So 9 minus 2 times 3/2. Well, those 2's cancel each other out, so really that's 9 minus 3, which equals 6. So one of my widths is 6. And then 12 minus 2 times 3/2. Those cancel each other out, so we equal 12 minus, 12 minus 3 equals 9. So the other one's 9. So our final answer, if it will let me, is, it's length by width, I think. And it will be 6 meters by 9 meters. There's our answer. So there you go. Sorry these video notes are long, but it's kind of a little lengthier with word problems, but you got this.